Welcome back. You're watching Alistair Stewart and Friends, and it's just about 8 minutes to 1, and over 300,000 people have called for the government to make it compulsory to scan and check microchip registrations to reunite stolen dogs and cats with their owners. Now, as I said just before the break, Bruce Forsyth's daughter, Debbie Matthews, had her 2 Yorkshire Terriers stolen back in 2006. With thanks to Jane Hayes, the founder of Dog Lost's advice and the media attention from her father, both dogs were reunited after 2 live television appeals. Animal campaigners, including Debbie, are calling for Fern's Law, which would make it compulsory to scan and check microchips each visit to the vet to reunite stolen dogs and cats. So, I'm joined now by Debbie Matthews, animal campaigner, who had her own dog stolen in 2006 and leads that campaign for Fern's Law. Debbie.
Hello.
How are you, first of all?
I'm very good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. As I think you maybe know...
That was my dog coming in, sorry.
Bring him or her in. Very welcome. Up on the table. No problems at all. As you may or may not know, Debbie's just picking up the dog and we'll be on the... There we are.
Here she is.
This programme just gets better. Now, I can counter that with a Saluki Lurcher cross and a Boxer Labrador cross and also a cat. And I'm absolutely intrigued in this story because I think with cats it's about to become compulsory and the proposal is dogs to join it as well. Spell out for me and the people kind enough to listen to our conversation exactly what Fern's Law says.
Well, everybody assumes because they microchip their pets that there is a system out there that's working to get your pets home, and there's not. So if you walked into the vet with my stolen dog, the vets don't check the microchip registration, and I wouldn't get my dog back. And it's a fundamental expectation from the microchip, if you like. I've been campaigning on this for 16 years. When, as you said, my 2 dogs were stolen, and I found out from Dog Lost that there was no legal obligation, nothing from the vets. And I've tried with Royal College of Veterinary Surgeons, British Veterinary Association, and the excuses just keep coming of why they can't do it. Time is one of the issues, and they don't want to stop people who have got stolen dogs coming to get treatment. But the problem is that people who buy the stolen dogs don't know they've got a stolen dog. And they're saying it's best practice, so it makes you think that it's happening, but it isn't.
Who's your local MP and who have you talked to? Because I personally think it's a brilliant idea. I am all for it. And indeed, when Lily, the Boxer Lab, who's a rescue dog, arrived from Greece, she'd already been done, so that was good. And people who care do tend to do it. But if you want to make it the law of the land, it's got to pass through the Houses of Commons and the House of Lords. Who are your backers?
Well, we had the successful petition, which is going to be debated in Parliament tomorrow. The lead on the petition is an MP called Jonathan Gallis. But we've got MPs like Ian Duncan Smith, who's just put an amendment into the police crime and bill to include vet scanning to check microchips. Gareth Johnson, David Amis. I mean, there's a long list of MPs who are all dog lovers, who've all got dogs and understand. And if you are a pet owner, you only find out that microchips aren't helping you when your dog goes missing or your cat goes missing. Yeah. Then you're faced with this problem, what do I do?
Are the police in favour? You mentioned about going to the vets, and I know that the vets can do it because they're plugged into the national check network as well. But what are the police? Because you also want to make dog napping, as it were, a more serious criminal offence rather than just equivalent to somebody lifting your mobile phone. What's the police view?
The police have been really good. We've had 3 petitions on pet theft. We've had 2 debates in Parliament on that. And Robert Buckland has now set up a pet theft task force, and they're addressing all the issues and looking at everything. So we've made great steps to the pet theft reform, and it's really to lift dogs out of this category that they're in as property And in law, they're seen as second-hand goods valued at under £500. So if a thief gets caught, it's usually a slap on the wrist and maybe a £250 fine, which is, it's low risk, high reward. You can sell a dog for God knows how much today. The prices just seem to be going up. So that's why during the pandemic, we saw a huge increase in dog theft.
Yeah. You said there just in passing that Buckland is making some moves on this front, and you know as well as I do that he's the Justice Secretary. So, I mean, that's a big scalp you've already got on board.
It is, and Priti Patel, and we actually targeted Boris as well. So we've got all the big guns. Ian Duncan Smith has really moved heaven and earth to get this push forward. He's been amazing.
Are there people who are opposed to it? I mean, whether they're libertarians and saying pet owners should be free to do whatever they want, or MPs even who think that putting a chip into a cat or a dog is cruel, which I know is not the case, and you know is not the case. But have you identified any opposition? Because you're clever and experienced enough to know that that's how it's done. You don't just bank the supporters, you also try and tickle and persuade the antis.
Well, I mean, compulsory microchipping for dogs has been in place now since 2016, and they're going, as you said, they're going to introduce compulsory cat microchipping this year. It's been a huge success, and you've had all the charities, obviously the DEFRA government department has been behind it as well. Everybody's for microchipping, but they're not for the scanning of the microchips, and that's the tough part to get through. Nobody can understand why it's not being done, and I can't give you the reasons why. I don't understand it. And for 16 years, I've been asking the same questions, and to actually get a debate in Parliament tomorrow and to get Ian Duncan Smith on board is a huge, huge relief, and hopefully the steps that we need to get the changes we want.
Well, keep in touch with us and let us know how it goes, and I hope very much that we can continue the conversation, because I'd love to see how it goes. And we know that amongst the people who are kind enough to watch GB News, there are lots of pet owners out there who want to do the right thing and want to be informed. So you keep in touch with us, Debbie, and to you and your lovely, lovely dog. Thank you both very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Debbie's got that big meeting coming up. Jonathan Gullis is the MP who's helping her out. But Ian Duncan Smith, former leader of the Conservative Party, on board, and Robert Buckland, the Justice Secretary, looking as if he's partly on board as well. That one's going to move, and we're going to keep in touch with it. I asked her specifically who's against it, and there are always issues where there's one side and the other. So I've encouraged you to send us your views on assisted dying and what have you. But I did say at the beginning, all issues we want to hear about. So if that's what you want to hear, then do get in touch.